Check, 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 check. Not going the way it's supposed to go. Check, check. And why that was so loud. I have to check my audio. It seems like every time I turn off Streamlabs and turn it back on, it forgets how my audio setup was. There's nothing wrong with the mic. It's Streamlabs. Streamlabs has just been giving me all kinds of issues for whatever reasons. I don't know. But at least my chat isn't going bananas like it was last time, if you guys remember last week. So, I got my kids running around like banshees in the background. That's fun. Oh, my new Apple Watch. I love it. Wife got it for me for Father's Day. I hate 3D. I think it's overrated. Where's that coming from? Yusuf. A different shade of purple says I can hear you. Hiss? You hear a hiss? It's probably my, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's the, it might be my PC. I don't know. I hate 3D, I think. Yeah. All right, all right. Get on in here. Get on in here. All right, so looks like everybody's hitting the like button. Thank you for that. Let me gotta do something real quick. I don't want to do it on here. Let's go to. Gotta do something real quick. Let's delete this. It's not letting me. It's not letting me do anything in here. Come on. Nope. All right. Maybe I can do it in here. Let's see. Yeah. Just give me a second. We'll get started soon. Very soon, very soon. I'd rather you guys see me and hear me instead of seeing the starting soon thing while I'm doing this stuff, because this stuff was supposed to be done a long time ago. But my computer, I'm tired of complaining about my computer. But it's doing what it's doing. What can I say? I think that's the right one. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with that. I don't care. Yep. Save that. What's up, Cornelius? What's up? Alright. I don't know why it goes to that default. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. Alright, let's step back. it's doing. It doesn't like me. Yes, you're right. A different shade of purple. It just doesn't like me. I'm not buying Pokemon Unite. What kind of Wii and Wii U games are coming out in 2020? Very interesting. Well, not really, but it's still cool that that is a thing. And I'll explain that in a minute if you haven't seen it. It says it's saved and it won't let me back away. No, I'm not discarding. I don't trust it, so let's just open a new one. Alright, give me like 1 minute to do this thing because now YouTube is tripping. YouTube one trip now. Alright. Alright, about 30 seconds and we'll start. No, let's get rid of this. Why is it? This doesn't want to do it right either. Come on. Here we go. There we go. All right. What? It doesn't make sense. Yes. It'll be light. Okay. Submit. Alright. That's insane. But you gotta go through all that. And it's still doing something stupid there. We'll move on. Alright. Moving on. Here we go. Let's go. What kind of... Are you going to buy it? Says Yusuf, buy what? Alright. So now... Oh, wait a minute. Alright. Welcome, everybody, to T News Live. T Talk is becoming T News. I don't know if I told you guys that. So, instead of T Talk Live, it's going to be... T Talk Live, it's T News Live. Same thing. It just made more sense, I guess. Not really. It's fine either way, but it's something I wanted to do. But what's up, everybody? Yusuf, a different shade of purple. Bruce. I called you Brute. And there's other people in here that haven't said anything yet, so I don't know who you are. Cornelius, what's up? And so let's get started with, see if this works correctly. T News Live.
Great time. And hopefully next year.
And maybe even some of us older owners is but I'm back.
All right, there we are. Am I gonna buy Pokemon Unite? I thought it was free. I didn't really pay much attention to that stream, so I'm just kind of going off of what other people talked about. So I don't know. Gotta have my orange soda, my crush. But that is the first topic. Pokemon Unite. So what it looks like a what do they call those games? Like a Dota, which I'm not really into. It's free to start, I think, or somebody help me out with that. Again, I wanted to do more research on it. I just didn't really care enough to do so. But it's already not in my like in my interest at all because I don't care for those types of games. So I don't really foresee myself looking at. I know there's a lot of controversy for some reason around it. I think it has to do with Tencent's involvement. But I think in Tencent's involved because they want it to be what's the Tencent one? The big one that everybody plays. I don't really know. I don't really know the names of these types of games. But there's a big one that's in tournaments and whatnot all the time. People do. I don't know the name of it, but I'm not into that stuff, so I don't really see myself partaking. But there's a lot of, I'm not really sure about what the controversy is, other than the fact that Tencent's involved and a lot of people don't like Tencent. I could care less either way, but hey, it's going to be a thing. I don't know how popular it's going to be. This may be something that they're only expecting to be, they're only expecting to be big in the East, maybe. I don't know, and that's why Tencent's involved. Tencent are the same people who made Diablo Immortal, says Yusuf, and a lot of people love that game, right? They love the idea of that. But the core fans are not going to care for this type of game. I understand. I just don't. I don't have a big opinion on it either way. Like, I don't care for those types of games, Dota games. They do nothing for me, which is surprising because I did used to like similar stuff like Command and Conquer, but it's different. It's RTS. Dota's a bit different, so I'm just not into those games really anymore anyway. So, but yeah, Diablo Immortal getting announced. Everybody was pissed off about that, mainly because there weren't any, mainline Diablo games really at that point. It was kind of like a situation with Metroid Prime Hunters, Metroid Prime Federation Force being announced without having a mainline Metroid game in like forever. So I think that has a lot to do with it, but that's not really the case with Pokemon because we've had Pokemon games pretty regularly. So it has to be the Tencent thing, and it has to be. I don't know. Are Dota's like penny pinching games that like take your money post purchase, or I thought this game was free, but I could be wrong about that. But like I said, I don't really know much about the genre, and I don't really plan on getting the game, and I'm not gonna get it. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna get it, so it doesn't matter a whole lot to me. But that is what it is. I really don't. If you guys have something you want to add on it, fine, but I don't really care. So, but I do understand why people, like I said, are somewhat. I understand why people are annoyed with it. Obviously it didn't matter what Pokemon Sword and Shield did or didn't do. For me, it wasn't a big enough step forward for the franchise, so I didn't buy it. I was looking forward to buying it, but the more I saw, the less I cared. And so I didn't buy it. But a lot of people obviously bought Sword and Shield. It sold really well. So people act like just because there's a big uproar and people complain about a game or something coming out, and there's controversy or something they don't like, that means nobody's going to buy it. Obviously, that's not the case. A lot of people who, especially on the internet, we're all tuned in and we pay attention to that stuff. So it seems louder than it actually is. The mainstream audience isn't really paying attention to this stuff. They just say, ooh, new Pokemon game, go get it. Ooh, new this, go get it. They don't really see all this stuff. So sometimes we're in the echo chamber and we're yelling at the echo chamber for some reason. Like, yeah, a lot of people are going to complain. It's going to feel like a lot of people are complaining, and it is. Because you've seen, I've seen countless videos and stuff, especially on Pokemon Sword and Shield, about how, just wasn't doing a lot of things that it should have been doing with the new generation game. So there are a lot of people complained about it, but that doesn't mean nobody's going to buy it just because you can hear a lot of complaints. Again, we're in an echo chamber where we're going to hear from a lot of people, but that doesn't mean it's not going to sell well. Same thing with Last of Us. There was a lot of controversy around that. most people aren't paying attention. The core audience, core fans, people who watch videos all the time, yeah, we're all paying attention, and so we don't care. A lot of us didn't care for, like, I'm not a Last of Us fan, so I don't really care either way. We'll talk about that a little bit too, but yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Just so you guys know, if I haven't told you last time, I'm having PC issues. There's a chance my PC will shut down during this stream. I'll pop back on. Do not go anywhere. It'll take 30 seconds to a minute, and I'll be back after obviously the computer starts back up and stuff. But I'm having some kind of power issue that I think is related to the graphics card. But so there is that issue. But yeah, I just don't care. Like, I'm not gonna pretend like a lot of YouTubers will pretend like they care about games that they never mentioned before, or they care about series that they never mentioned before, just to be in the talk. Because if a lot of people are talking about a certain thing, and you're not getting into that algorithm, you're not getting into that space where your videos pop up and show up. So a lot of YouTubers will pretend that they care about stuff that they don't care about. Oh, Last of Us 2, yeah. Never heard them say one thing about the first Last of Us game. So, and, I'm talking about people that have been around, maybe not all the way back to the first Last of Us. When did it come out? 2011? But have been around long enough to say, oh, if they're gushing over Last of Us 2, you think you would have heard something about the first Last of Us game. Like, for me, you guys pretty much know I'm not going to pop out of nowhere and have a series that I'm crazy about all of a sudden. You guys, if you've been around a while, you know what series I like, what games I've been interested in, and if there's something new that I hear a lot about that I haven't played, then I'll say, hey, I've never played this. I'm playing this for the first time. Last of Us, I played it back in 2014, whenever it came out. No, because I played it on PS3, and I didn't care for it, so I basically stashed it, and then the remaster came out on PS4, and I was like, whatever, and then like Terminator Juice from Juice Lose podcast, shout out to Juice Podcast, he kept talking about it. He really likes the series, so he kept talking about it. So it kind of geeked me up to try it again. So I bought it again on PS4 to give it another shot. And while I feel like I'm enjoying it more, it's still not doing a whole lot for me. People were enthralled with the story. The story doesn't really move me all that much. Because for me, it feels like it's trying to ape off of popular television shows that were happening around the time. And it just didn't feel, maybe these people didn't see these shows, so it didn't, those concepts were really new to them, and they're like, oh, video games have grown up. And I'm like, you guys haven't played a lot of video games. Like, video games have been growing for a long time. Welcome. But anyway, I just find that to be strange when you've never played, and it's important because it is a story-based game, so if you haven't played the original, and you're, oh my god, the second one is this and this and that. I'm like, that's kind of strange to me. But there's a big thing that happens. No spoilers will be announced here. That I think if you're a fan of the first one, would be kind of shocking. Unless you just didn't care for, specific people in the first game, or they didn't really attach themselves to you. So. Other than that, then, but I'm hearing from people who liked the first game, who wasn't really bothered by, wasn't overly bothered by the big twist. I think 4 or 5 hours in, who just say the story in this game is disjointed and not that great. So, the one thing that people talked to me about the game that was supposed to be so great, which was the story, I never cared for in the first one. And if people who like the first one are saying this about the second one, I just really don't care about Last of Us 2. Because the story didn't move me, and the gameplay is okay, you know. Um, it's kind of janky when you're dealing with AI characters that you're kind of escort mission stuff. Um, the people used to hate escort missions. Now they're pretty fine with them in games. Um, but I guess some of that stuff was fixed, like the AI stuff in Last of Us 2. But the gameplay was never compelling enough to keep me involved for too long. So it is what it is. If you guys have something you want to say on it, feel free to add. But I'm guessing most of my audience aren't really Last of Us folks anyway. But just in case you are, let me know in the comments or in the chat, not the comments. Let me see something here really quickly. Yeah, looks like you guys have nothing to say on that, and we will move on. Yusuf, don't be putting. Come on, man. Don't put spoilers in here. No spoilers for people who may want to play it. Anyway, moving on. So that's Pokemon Unite out of the way, and that is also, what is it? Last of Us 2. I didn't really have much to say on that. Oh, other than the fact that sold 4 million copies. I kind of mentioned that, but I'm not surprised that it still sold well. Sometimes controversial games still sell well. So that's, again, Pokemon was controversial for the fact that it took a lot of Pokemon out, and it didn't look like a good enough leap for a HD modern system, and that's why I didn't buy it. But just because, I didn't make countless videos. Some people make countless videos, but I think if you made countless videos comparing and saying this and this and that, you're a Pokemon fan because you care enough to look up or bring up these different things about Pokemon, saying, "Oh, look at the animation in Gale of Darkness on GameCube compared to the animation in a 2019 Pokemon, a new Pokemon game." So I think if you put that much into it, now if you just flame and move on, maybe you don't care, you're just kind of trolling. But if you put that much into it, like a analysis, and I'm guessing you're a fan, because you're incensed to the point of where you want to talk about it. So I don't like people being dismissed into, oh, they just want to cause issues or they just want to troll or whatever. Now that can be the case. Don't get it twisted, but I think that's just something people would do in a tweet or something like that. You don't spend your time editing a 15-minute video like I've seen a lot of Pokemon fans do, just showing comparisons, unless you really care. So that's different. Same thing with Last of Us. There were people who really had long, passionate videos about what they didn't like and why they didn't like it. And to me, you can't dismiss them just because you don't like what they're saying. So, Shade of Purple. Now I'm thinking about going back to some DS or 3DS games. I was told to start with Pokemon X and Y. Did I miss something? Oh, I was actually thinking about jumping in this gen with Pokemon. So you never played Pokemon before, and you want to go back and I think X and Y is a good start. I think that's a good start because you can go pretty much anywhere from there. Obviously the games won't look as good or have different mechanics and whatnot than X and Y. But I think X and Y is a good jump off point for any new Pokemon fan. And then, Sun and Moon, And then you could probably even go back to the DS ones and whatnot. For me, like the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance Pokemon games may be a little bit harder to go back to, mainly because of graphics and whatnot. But if you want to get started, I think any of the DS ones, black and white, you can get into, I think, fairly easy. After playing, I think, something like Pokemon X and Y. So, yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have. So I think Last of Us will probably end up selling. I don't know how. I mean, obviously, it sold 4 million. I don't think it's like a Animal Crossing type of thing where it's just going to continue to sell crazy. I think you're going to get the big lump sum of people buying it, and then it's going to sell a little bit more here and there. They may do a bundle with something later on. I think it'll end up around 10, 11 million. That's just a guess. I don't know. If it does more than that, I mean, that's great too, but I just don't know. Yusuf, you're a Pokemon fan? Well, I'm confused now. Because you said I was actually thinking about jumping in this gen. Oh, this generation with Pokemon. So, I don't know. Are you saying jumping in for the first time, or jumping in this gen and you haven't played for a long time? I don't know. A different shade. I thought it was selling gangbusters. You talking about Last of Us 2? I mean, it sold pretty well. 4 million. It's only been out of less than a week, I think. Maybe a week. Yeah, I don't think it's been out that long. It's only been out a week, if that. So I think that's pretty good. It's not, anything above my expectations. I expected it to sell well. So it's weird. There's people like doing victory laps, like all those people talking about brah brah brah. Yeah, I hate it. I hate what it's doing with the story. That it still sold well. Act like those two things can't coexist. People, crapped on Transformers movies every time they come out, and they still do well. They're terrible movies, and people talk crap about them every time. Right after a new one comes out, they talk about how much it sucks, but it still sells. It still makes $800 million plus. So just because people complain about something doesn't mean that's proof that it's not going to do well. That's a silly stance that I've seen taken a lot of times. It's just like, okay, just because people talk bad about something doesn't mean they're going to do well, or doesn't mean it's not going to do well. So, all right, moving on. I think you're confusing. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. I'm confusing you and Yusuf because of your avatar, and I'm quickly looking. So your avatars are similar on my screen. You actually have an avatar, and he just has like a picture. So I just figured that out, but thanks for pointing that out. But yeah, that's what it is. Sorry about that. That's why I was confusing you. Because on my screen, I have this little window, my little pop-up window for the chat. It looks tiny. So I'm just looking at I'm looking at the avatars instead of the names, and that's why I'm confused. But anyway, we got through Pokemon Unite, not Minion, Last of Us 2, now Min and Smash. Haven't really talked about that. Fine. I mean, some people wanted this or that person, but nobody plays ARMS anyway. Like, I don't see why anybody would be upset either way. Because, yeah, there's some people that, Terrell, he really liked ARMS. He got into it a lot. Probably a lot more than I did. And so he really was a fan of, like, what's her name, Twintel and stuff like that. So people have favorites and stuff. I'm not surprised that it's Min Min. Doesn't I was thinking maybe that they would do like a skin swap thing where they'd add, something like Spring Man and Twintel or something like that. But you still never be able to satisfy everybody. What are you gonna do? Skin swap everybody in the game? What are there's 12 characters now, I think, if not more. I'm not sure. I haven't played it in a while. So you're never gonna satisfy everybody who wanted the game. Who wanted what's the name of the game? I can't even think of the name. Who wanted ARMS characters in the game? So you're never gonna satisfy everybody on that. But yeah, she's cool. She's actually got a pretty decent moveset. Looks similar-ish to Bayonetta. Hopefully she's stronger. I don't know. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention. I need to go back and watch the whole thing because I only saw like snippets of Sakurai's little video project. So I'll have to check it out. Different Shade says, I thought it was because of the character being a POC. What's POC stand for? I don't know. I'm going to feel stupid when you answer that, especially given the times. Oh, person of color? I thought it was because... are you saying that people wanted that or not? I don't know. Just saying there. To me, it shouldn't matter about the times. It's just the fact that, it's just nice. We like to see us in video games too. And I think when you're not a person of color, you kind of take it for granted. You don't think about it, so it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, because everybody already looks like you. So you think, oh, what's the big deal? But when you're a person of color, seeing something in a video game or a movie that that's universally liked, it does. You do like it, and it does make you feel included. It's just nature. It's just natural. And I have a problem. I'm not going to get too far into it, but I have a problem when people. When the subject of race is equated to politics, because to me race is not politics. That's people ticks. That's not politics. Race isn't a policy. It's what we all are. So I hate when people say, when they're talking about race, I don't want to get into politics. That's not politics. It's race. That's kind of strange. But I know it's been made that because it's easier to what's the word I'm looking for? It's easier to dismiss something when it's based in politics. Because then you could just say, oh, you're just fighting for your side. It's tribal at that point. Instead of, so that way you can't talk about serious things because people could just dismiss them as politics. And that's not an accident. That's by design. That is a think tank issue. That, it's a divide and conquer method. It is a way. It is a method. It's not an accident. Because if you want to destroy something, if you want to la 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 to a message or a topic, if you want to dismiss it, you call it politics. You call it social justice, and then it can be easily dismissed about, oh well, that's a lefty thing or a righty thing, and then it's dismissed. And we're being manipulated. People were being manipulated, and we need to wake up. And I don't mean get woke, because I think that's the corniest thing ever. But I mean wake up to what's being fed to us and what's dividing us. Because if you break these things down, and take the politics out of, take that word politics out of it, if you just break these issues down and talk about them as issues, Star Trek, Yes. Why can't we be like Star Trek? Thanks, EJ. If you break these things down, we agree on most of this stuff. It's the minute you put it behind that wall politics, that's when we start, oh, well, that's those people, that's what they believe on that side. We all like clean water, right? We all like to breathe air, clean air. I'm sure it'll be in the 90%. It's always some weird thing where, a certain small percentage of people will say, no, I don't want clean air or clean water. As strange as that may be, because people are crazy. But we all will agree on these things until you start splitting them up and saying, that's a that side thing and that's a that side thing. That's what they care about. But that is by design, people. And unfortunately, we've been hijacked. Our thinking has been hijacked, and we don't even realize it. Upwing and downwing, EJ. But yeah, it's just, we, like I said, overwhelmingly, we all think these, we know what's right, we know what's wrong. And the minute you dismiss it by saying politics, your politics, my politics, that's when it's dismantled and nothing ever changes. And things stay the same, and people are arguing about things for forever and forever. And that's the way the elites want it. That's the way they want it. They want it to be that way. They want us down here fighting with each other, not paying attention to them. And that's what they want. They want us down here squabbling with each other. That way, if we're doing that and blaming each other, we won't blame them. Because we are way bigger than they are. We are more. But that's how you keep people in line. You give them these tribal things, and you make them fight each other over them, and we don't pay attention. So, anyway, not to get into politics, but yeah, race is not politics. It's race. It's human ticks. It's people ticks. So I hate even using it that way. I should be able to talk about race without people saying, oh, it's a political issue. No, it's not. It's a natural issue. It's a nature issue. It's what we are. But anyway, but yeah, so I guess I would like to see, more representation of more people that look like me in video games. Because when I'm given a choice to change my character's race and whatnot, sometimes I will change it to my race to make the character look more like me. I don't think that's a weird thing. I think that's normal. I think that's a natural thing. People want stuff that looks like them, not to get into politics, but people in Europe, when they wanted to make a statue of Jesus, they made or a photo. They gave him blonde hair and blue eyes. That's insane if you know where Jesus is from, but that's what people do. I don't take anything away from people who do that. I understand it. I understand that's what the culture did in that time. They, because they wanted a representation of something that looked like them, and that's extreme what I'm talking about, but that's what it's just a natural thing that people do. When you depict something, you want it to look like how you look. It's there's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just it's natural. They hate. What am I? Oh, let me look at this here. Yusuf says, or let me go back a little bit. King Boom, Preach T. Also, real quick, just woke up. What's this about? A Wii U? Yeah, there's a new Wii U game. I'll talk about that in a minute. New Wii and Wii U game is coming for Wii and Wii U separately. So even though the Wii U plays Wii, they still decided we're going to make a Wii U version 2 because they wanted the HD and whatnot. So, EJ, elites suck. Yeah, I don't like the fact that elites gets demonized, because there are some elites that were... If you look at elite on its own, it's not a bad thing. We like elite athletes. We like people at the top of their game or people that are great at what they do. They're the best at what they do. They're the elite, and we like them to be making decisions at the top. We like the elite guy's product. You know, if you're really good at software making, you know, we want the best of that. We don't want the worst of it. We don't want the elite. But you know, when you're specifically talking about elites who want to control things, that's the difference. So, unfortunately, you know, we're down here squabbling with each other while those guys are sipping champagne and watching it burn. You know, and not burn too much because you don't want to get out of control. So they get afraid when stuff starts to burn too much. If you get my drift. That's when they start getting worried. Oh no! They're gonna ruin this whole system. Is gonna be ruined. With this whole system of us being up here and them being down there fighting each other is gonna be ruined. They're starting to pay attention to this. Kind of happened with Occupy and whatnot, but you know they got really scared during that time. But anyway, let's see. They hate Sonic Fox because they add him as a character in video games. I'm totally lost on that one, Yusuf. I don't know what you're talking about there. Please elaborate if you can. Ty Lord says, hi, what's up, Ty Lord? EJ, they have really big egos, yeah, but not all of them. Again, you have to have a big ego to some extent. I don't mind that. I only mind when your ego is detrimental to your ethics. When your ego affects your ethics, that's when I have a problem. Because you got to think about it. If you are really good at something, you're going to have a big head about it. You know, it's a natural, normal thing to be. If you're really good at something, you're going to get a big head about it. Now, if you use that, you know, in nefarious ways, then obviously I have a problem with that. But let's take Michael Jordan, for instance. Like, Michael Jordan's an asshole, right? He's when it comes to basketball anyway, he was grimy. He didn't care. But he needed to be that way for him to be as great as he is. So I can take that. I can take, you know, ego tripping, if you will, from elite people who are really good at stuff. And I will. I'll even defend it to some extent. Again, if you get your ethics are screwed up, then we have an issue. But I if you're really good at something, I don't mind you letting people know you're really good at something. You know, for some time, what's the Facebook dude's name? Zuckerberg. Like, I watched the movie and I was like, yeah, this dude's an asshole, but he's smart. He was a genius at what he was doing, so it made sense for him to be kind of an a-hole, right? But then it started affecting his ethics, where he's like, you know, I'm not going to get into that because that is politics, but I think he's ethically challenged because, you know, he's good. He has this product that everybody's kind of stuck into and he's using it to me, and a lot of people in nefarious ways. And he's not, his corporation is not being held accountable for the damage they do. And that's where I have an issue. Again, like I said, ethics. That's my problem. So I don't mind you having a big ego. If you're a great actor and you make a ton of money, I can deal with that. But if you're a great actor, you make a ton of money and you give to causes, and you don't have to like give and like preach about it, because there are a lot of people that give and you don't hear anything about it. But if you take that ego, if you take that elitism and you use it in positive ways, I'm totally fine with that. But my problem is when the type of elite that looks down on everybody at all times, and you enjoy the fact that this system really benefits you and you only. So, oh my gosh, the alarm that's going off. Can you guys hear that? I hope not. Hold on one second. I think somebody's going to get it. All right, there he goes. Okay, so that's my issue. Like I said, because a lot of times people that I admire have big egos. Somebody you would never think about having a big ego, and people would call it sacrilegious for me to think this or to say this, Martin Luther King Jr. He, he fathered a lot of children. Well, not a lot. I think a few children outside of his marriage and whatnot. And that, to me, comes from ego. It comes from, I'm so great, I'm in this position to where people adore me, and, you get into like a quote-unquote groupie situation. It's like, oh, yeah, people adore me. Oh, look at this pretty lady. She wants to be with me. Blah, 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 blah. It's hard for me to turn that down. That's ego. But that doesn't discount the greatness that he provided. That doesn't take away from that, because that's a personal, family issue. That's not his, his character, if you will. He took, because he was really good at speaking. He was really good at galvanizing people. He was elite at that, if you will. But he used that to the advantage of people, and in tough positions. And so that's why I don't like, I know it's easy to do, just say elite, and we all know what you're talking about. But sometimes things get, kind of catty-cornered and kind of, put in, mixed in with stuff that it didn't really belong with, or categories it doesn't really belong in. So, let's see. Hello, says Video Game Lover. What's up, Video Game Lover 58? Yusef, they add Sonic Fox at DLC Skullgirls because they want to celebrate with him. Okay, I got you. All right. I'm not as into Sonic as some people are, but I know where you're coming from. I need a sip. Probably should have took water and not soda. Not the best thing. But had an inkling for some orange soda. So what can I say? All right, so we're way off topic, but I think that needed to be said. And if I did like a standalone video talking about that stuff, nobody would have seen it. So, I don't mind putting this stuff in here, but I'm again, not to talk about politics, because race is not politics, but I'm happy to see what's going on out there in the streets, and what came out of the tragedy, because a lot of people just don't listen, or they don't want to hear truth. They don't want to hear the facts of the situation. Some people act like or people of color want to be in this situation. Like, this is a good thing to do, to want to talk about these things. I don't want this to be the case with me, but I can give you 7 or 8 stories with just me and police, and how I've been treated. But I'm not going to do that, because a lot of people are being heard right now, which is great. And it seems like people who didn't believe or listen before are listening now, and they believe it, and that's the best thing, because we all want to be out of this. I know a lot of times white people get really nervous, understandably, or they start what they call white guilt. They feel, if you're not doing it, it's not you, okay? Don't feel guilty about stuff you didn't do. And don't feel guilty when people of color tell you about things that are happening to them because of their color. If you're not doing it, then don't be upset about it. Don't be nervous about it. Listen. And because nobody's blaming you. The people who are doing it, that's who is being blamed. If anybody's blaming you, then they're idiots, and I'm sorry. But that's, insane. But I'm glad this is happening because, we all, maybe, some of us maybe not have one, and you're lucky, but we all have our experiences, All right, somebody's telling me to share. I'm going to share something really quickly. Nothing too crazy or graphic or anything, but it was 2005. 2005. I think it was 2005. Summer of 05. I didn't have a car. Summer of 05 was pretty cool. So I used to ride my bike to college. I was in community college then I transferred to film school. But I was in community college still. And so I would ride my bike in the morning. I'd get up about 7 or so. It took me like 25 minutes or so to get to school. And then I'd go from school to work. So I go to school all day. Not all day, but I get out about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Then I ride my bike to work, which is about another 30 minutes or so. Not that maybe 25 minutes or so to work. Work until 10:30, 11 p.m. and then ride my bike home from there, which was another 25, 30 minutes or so. So it was like this triangle of bike riding, and I was in stupid shape then. Like that was one good thing about it. I was in great shape. And my roommate, who's my best friend, still my best friend today, the godfather of my daughter, we shared an apartment in the hood. Not really, but it was actually historical. Closer to the historical section of town, and we shared an apartment, but it was mostly black and Hispanic neighborhood. Now he also rode his bike to work. He worked at a different store. We were working at grocery stores at the time. He worked at a different store. His store was probably as far away as my school. So, I was telling you, I go to school and I go to work. And going to work was a little bit further north. And then I'd have to come back south to where I lived. So he was kind of... Okay, for me, going to school was going west. And he was west. Was it west? Yeah, west. And then a little bit south. So it was like a little bit south. So, it was almost the same length from me to school, from him to work. So this summer, I got pulled over on my bicycle 7 times that summer. This is just that summer. Where are you going? What's your name? Do you have any warrants? No probable cause. None. No probable cause whatsoever. Just harassing me. I had my backpack because I had my work uniform in it and my books and stuff. And so they would, and I had I was completely within my rights to not let them look in my bag. But just because I didn't want to be bothered, I had worked literally all day. I had been in school all day. Then I went to work and worked all day. And you're bothering me. I have no criminal record, nothing. And you constantly bothering me. Now, this is the same police department, so you would think they would have some kind of record. But if they're never giving me any kind of citation or anything like that, this is just a policy to just stop people on bikes. Because that was the thing. They could make up some probable cause to get you in a car, but not to just pull you over for whatever. Oh, you didn't make the right turn, or oh, I didn't see a blinker. They could make up something. And they did, because they made up stuff to stop me in my car as well. But on people on bikes, and there was a lot of people on bikes, they had no probable cause to stop bikers. Luckily we didn't have stop and frisk in my area, so they wouldn't stop and frisk. They couldn't. But a lot of people rode bikes, so they said, oh, we can come up with something to get people on who ride bikes, and they made up some little ordinance or whatever, just to basically stop and frisk people, and it's an infuriating, especially if you're not somebody who does anything. It's infuriating, it's demeaning, and this is the lightest story I can tell. I'm not going to get into the harder stuff. It's just, it tears you down. And a lot of people don't understand that. They don't see, oh, just tell them, just do what they ask, blah, blah, blah. But when you're constantly being checked, like you're a criminal automatically, like you're doing something wrong just for being, it tears away at your soul. And so when I saw people marching and it wasn't just people who look like me, it was more people who look not like me out there in the streets. It meant a lot to me, and it means a lot to me, because there is a serious problem, and it's been for a long time. And I mean, I guess the best, it's like PTSD. It really is. When you've been constantly treated other, you react differently to it. To me, I just wanted to go home alive, and not end up in jail for some trumped up stupid charge. And I just wanted to have my peace, because I was doing the right thing. I was going to school, going to work, going home. That was it. But then there's another reaction to where I'm fed up. I'm not taking anything you say. I'm tired of this. And that's mentality leads to bigger issues. That's not always the case. People have been shot and arrested for complying, even when they comply. So, and you've seen countless, and you just don't believe, and you're not paying attention. You're either really not paying attention, or you just don't care. You pick, because there is evidence all over the place throughout history, everywhere. Going back to, we just had Juneteenth, the Tulsa the Tulsa massacre, where they destroyed Black Wall Street, and it was based on a Karen, one of the first Karens, who said a black man did such and such to her. She decades later said no, that never happened. But decades later it's too late. People, women, children killed in the streets. And it's just something that continues. Not to that extent. And people act like if you're not being hung in the tree, then there's no racism. Like, it has to be the extreme. If I'm not, we're not doing this. Because I hear all the time, because my wife is Caucasian Japanese, so I hear sometimes from her Caucasian friends or family who say things like, well, I didn't own slaves. They think that's the extent of racism, slavery. Once slavery ended, racism was over. No, racism went into overdrive when slavery ended, because there was white fear. There was fear of retaliation from slaves. So they hit us over our head constantly to keep us down. And overseers became officers. Okay? Police forces begat from the KKK and all this other stuff. So you either, again, you're not paying attention. I know this stuff isn't readily available. It's not like they teach it in school, because when they don't want certain history to be out there, they get rid of it. There's all these people uproar about the statues and whatnot being pulled down. That doesn't scare them. But when they look bad, they don't want that history known. So you have to go and search for Rosewood. I didn't learn about Rosewood in school. I didn't learn about Black Wall Street in school. So that it's okay for that history to be erased or hidden, but we can have like my little siblings going to Robert E. Lee Elementary. Really? Like, that's cool? No. So I didn't mean to get into this that much, but like I said, oh, back to the story anyway. So I got pulled over 7 times, 8 times, I don't know, kind of lost count. And I got checked. And again, I didn't have to do any of this stuff because I had done nothing wrong. But what do you think would have happened on a 11:30 p.m. night with me by myself and 2 or more police officers? I got the helicopter spotlighted me one night. Like, I had the helicopter on me, shining its light on my bicycle as I rode home from work. So what do you think would have happened if I would have contested them? I may not be here. Like, I may not be here right now. So I made the choice to just grin and bear it, as they say. And not everybody can do that. And I completely understand. Because there were plenty of times when I didn't want to do that. And if they caught me on a bad day, maybe I wouldn't have done that. So, but my point was, here is my white, my Caucasian, my homeboy, roommate. We live in the same neighborhood. He rode a bike to work for miles like I did. He never got bothered. He never got pulled over, ever. Now my mentality would be like, well, here's a white dude in a mostly people of color neighborhood. He's the one you should be looking at. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? That's a joke. But he never got bothered. He never got stopped on his bike. And that's just, again, that's one of my small stories. My less egregious, less violent stories that I could tell you. So when you're a person of color, and I don't know about Hispanics, they don't deal with as much, but their numbers are close to ours. And I guess you can include, then you'd be including like Asians, like Indian and whatnot in there as well. They don't get bothered nearly as much as us, but they still do. They still get harassed for a number of things. But I'm speaking specifically of blacks. I know me, I have to be 2 people. I don't have to be who I normally am, like when I'm around friends and family and I'm cool and whatnot. And everybody has to be that to an extent. I mean, you'd be a professional or whatever. But I have to be okie dokie when I'm not around a bunch of people who look like me, because I have to basically prove that I'm not going to steal your purse or I'm not going to rob the place, especially when I'm wearing like this and my chain and whatnot. I have to, be conscious of that somebody could be worried about my presence. I see him. I mean, you get the looks and whatnot, and it's not a mental hysteria that people of color share. These are things that are known. This is facts, and sometimes people lose their lives over these facts, and so that's why we're having this reckoning, which I'm happy about, and I hope that it does lead to true change, because us not having to go through this is not just better for us. It's better for all of us. It's better for the entirety of our country, of our world, that we all are treated the same and we don't have to worry about this garbage mentality anymore. Nobody wants... I don't want to be treated better. I don't want anybody treated better than me. I don't want to be treated better. I just want to be treated like everybody else and not have to deal with this, not have to worry about this. Because I've had nightmares. I worry about my little brothers because they're a little bit more hot-headed than me. And I worry about something happening to them, because they may not be cool when their rights are taken from them the way mine have been. And So I constantly worry about them. And I tell them, like, you guys, I know, we know how it is. It's just what it is to be black in this world. And you just got to kind of be two people. But that's just not fair. It's not right. It makes you feel like less of a person. And so that's, that's the hope I have, is that real change is going to happen. And we don't have to worry about this nonsense anymore. And people that are in denial, you're not helping. You're actually hurting the situation. With your whataboutism and all this nonsense, it's detrimental. Because when we can get past this, it's better for everybody, like I said. We don't have to worry about this nonsense anymore. So, that's my piece on it. I won't say any more on it. I'll move on. But I am optimistic by what I've been seeing. And hopefully, because this isn't just talk. This isn't just black people saying, oh, these people don't like me, blah, blah, blah. This is real stuff. That people are not even here today because of the nonsense, because of this despicable, decaic, egregious way of thinking and belief. So, all right, let's see what you guys are saying. All right, sugar is addicting. It says a different shade of purple. I shared my experience, so there you go, realization. Yusuf, he a competitive player, not a character. Him because he's furry. I think he's talking about Sonic still. You need to in order for people to get it. I think you were talking about sharing my experience. Yusuf says they hate people personally. I think it's kind of stupid. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate anybody. I really don't. Especially people I don't know. And I'm not gonna. It's not in me, so I don't understand why this is still a problem in the world. We're supposed to be modern, civilized people, and this is a very barbarian thinking. And we're supposed to be beyond this at this point. I remember being a kid thinking how cool the future was going to be, how, there would be no biases and yeah, right. Sadly, that utopia, that Star Trek world hasn't happened. And it's, that's why Star Trek, people who don't understand Star Trek, aren't fans of it, which is fine. I'm not saying you have to be a fan of Star Trek. That's what they don't get. And that's what I hate about the new shows, the new stuff that's around Star Trek, because it doesn't know what Star Trek is about. That's what was my favorite thing about Star Trek, is that you had not just races, but you had different worlds of people that said, we're all going to be united and we're all going to benefit from this coalition, The biases are dead, Yeah, everybody has their cultural differences, and Star Trek touched on that a lot, if you're a fan of it. But my favorite thing about it was futuristic. I love future stuff, science fiction. But the fact that, all these biases that we have today are gone. It's not stuff that we care about. We've evolved mentally beyond this stupid garbage that we squabble over still today. So that's my favorite thing about Star Trek. All right. Lil T chilling on the couch. Yeah, you see. Alex Jessica, I don't think I've seen you before. Last of Us Part 2 reviews debacle. What's your take? Okay, I'll touch on that real quick. Cornelius, that YouTube algorithm. Yusuf. Okay, so my take is that it's somewhere in the middle. Obviously, I don't know where it's at right now, but I remember the user scores being like, last time I looked, it was like 3.5, and the so 35, and then like the critical scores, reviewer scores were like 95, so 9.5. My take is that it's probably somewhere in the middle. It's probably closer to 7.5, somewhere around there, 8 maybe. If you're not overly gushing over what you think is video games growing up in this story, and you're being honest, it's not that great on a story level, and on a gameplay level, it's just, it's good, but it's not great on that either. Because that's what I've seen from the reviewers anyway. They're like, the gameplay is okay. Basically, that's what these reviews are saying. But that story, man, blah, 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 blah. So for me, The Last of Us kind of world and story doesn't do anything for me. So I would probably be around 7 because of the gameplay, and the gameplay is just okay. And I guess they added some more stuff, like I said. But I think it's a reaction. Like, now a lot of it is, and even the guys who don't want to say it's a cultural, political thing. Again, I don't think sexual orientation is politics. But again, if you want to dismiss something, you slap it into politics. So I don't agree with that premise, because a lot of people are like, it's about, I don't even know these stupid words that people come up with. There's gender something. You know what I'm talking about. I have no idea. I know the word, but I can't think of it right now. Reappropriation or some garbage. I don't know. Which I don't understand, because if people feel different and have different, you may like something, you may not like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I think there is a part of it, because people feel like, oh, that's being pushed on me, I don't understand, unless, it's funny because people, I don't want their sexuality pushed on me, but yet you see movies all the time where heterosexuality is pushed on you and you have no problem with it. So, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, so if you're gonna have characters of different sexuality, they're gonna do things with their sexual partners the same way people would do things with their straight sexual partners. I don't, it's just more prevalent now. People are being freer to express that side of them, because before, again, it wasn't as easy, and it's still not overly easy, but it's more accepting. So you're gonna see it more. I think a lot of people are just getting bent out of shape about the fact that they're seeing these different sexual relationships that they've never seen before, and I mean, I understand the reaction of, oh, I don't, that's not for me, I don't want to see that. But I don't understand the other reaction where it's like, I hate that. Don't ever do that. Why are you making it all about that? And I don't think I played a video game where they're making it about a person's sexuality or preference or anything. So people see what they want to see. So some of it is that. And some of it is a visceral reaction to a major plot point that happens in the game, that was released in the spoilers before the game came out. Thank you. Gender identity. Thank you, Alex. Yeah. So a lot of it is a visceral reaction to that. So you have those people coming together as one, even if they don't want to be grouped together. Because I see it in movies a lot. I see it in movie reviewing a lot on YouTube, where I'm just coasting along and I'm enjoying this movie reviewer's idea, and they're talking about stuff that has to do with gender identity, or they call it gender. What do they call it? Gender politics or something like that. Gender identity politics, and it's just like, okay, where you're right sometimes on, say, something like Star Wars, where we all know, like, Kathleen Kennedy really pushed, more women in Star Wars, and that was her agenda, which on its own isn't a bad agenda. There's nothing wrong with being more inclusive and adding more women to roles. But here's the thing, like, dudes will get upset. Oh, you only made her this character because she's a woman and she's a bad character. Is it she a bad character because she's a woman? Because there are a lot of there's billions of movies, millions of movies, thousands of movies where there are bad men characters, poorly written men characters all over the place, and you don't get upset and say, "Oh, that is a terrible character because he's a guy," you know, or they forced that character in to be a guy, and that's why he's terrible. So I don't understand that. Now I do understand if you're gonna make somebody like OP, like Ray is, and it's all about, you know, adding women to the story or whatnot, but you just get rid of all the rules like they did with her. Like, you know, you can't do that. That's when people are gonna get upset. So you have these gender crazy people who are upset about new or women and stuff, and there are some. They want to act like there aren't any. There are some. I know guys who don't like to play video games because there's a female character in it, a lead character, who won't play video games because of that. Because, you know, they don't like playing games as a woman. It bothers them, I guess, but I've been playing that fine, no problem. But I don't get it, you know, I don't have a problem with people who rather play games as a representation of themselves because they see that as an avatar. So I don't overly have a problem. I have a problem when it's like, I don't want that at all. I don't want women in games. Yeah. And that's a small minority of people. That's not a big minority, a big majority of people. That is a small minority. I don't want women having anything. You know, they try to elevate that. Hollywood will blow that up. Video game, you know, there is a certain sector that will blow that up, but it's only for financial gain. It's not, and they don't really believe it. It's only because they want to make more money by bringing controversy to something. So don't get caught up in that. Don't fall for that stuff. So there are people that, you know, like I said, who don't like the women and stuff, but it's a small minority. And so they get put together with people who just want better characters and don't like Ray or whatever character because they don't think they're well written. And just because they're a woman, they're not great just because of that. So they get lumped in together, and they got all pushed together, and that's when you have these uproars. So that's what happened with Last of Us 2. You have that small minority of people who just don't like, quote-unquote, gender identity politics put into stuff. And then you have the people who just hated the story, and they're all together. But they all like, oh, those guys just don't like gender identity. No, that's not the case. My favorite word is nuance, because that's what it is. It's nuance. There is nuance. Now, here's the thing. I'll speak to nuance. Going back to the cultural situation that we're dealing with. The Confederate flag. There are legitimate people who aren't racist, who have pride in the Confederate flag, the history of it, whatnot. And I get that. I totally know that is a thing. And they're not racist at all. But too bad. That flag may mean something different to you in your head, but the reality of it is horrid. So again, nuance. I can understand that not everybody who flies that flag is a racist. I get it. Totally understand that. Totally get it. But those people have to understand that no matter how they feel about that flag represents one of the darkest, eras of human history, not just American history, but human history. And it represents just the most unethical, disruptive, disgusting treatment of an entire race of people, not just during the Confederacy or before it, but also after it. Because a lot of these statues that people are upset about getting pulled down were erected after the South lost, and they were erected to show power. Say, we're still here. If you black people think you're going to rise up and do whatever, no. We're going to band together and we're going to leave slave auction monuments on street corners. This is stuff that happened. I forgot where it is, but there is a monument that slaves were sold here, and it's a stool that we would stand on. And I'm fine with that being in a museum because it is history. People need to see it. But it doesn't need to be on a street corner. It doesn't need to be in front of a government building because that represents anti-government. They wanted to dethrone, or not dethrone, but overthrow the government. They were treasonous. On and on. So that's where I'm coming from. So like, again, with how that game is being judged, and a small minority, again, it's being judged unfairly. And then there's another group of people that don't like where the story went, and it just turned the game off for them. But I'm not with these reviewers that acting like this is some second coming of gaming, and video games have grown up. I saw that as a quote. I'm like, get out of here. Video games have finally grown up, and that's coming from those weirdos who are embarrassed about their hobby of playing video games. I've said this. If you've been with me for a while, I've said this. My old Tea Talk, what do I call it? Tea Time commentary videos, where I talk about these people who are just embarrassed. These adult men, mostly, who are embarrassed about playing video games, and they want to make it something else. Oh, it's video games can be art, but it's not only art. It's also entertainment, and it's fine being entertainment. It doesn't have to just be art. And, so they have to elevate it to only being art so they can feel better about themselves for playing it as grown adult men. And it's just like, you guys are insecure. And that's where I made that famous song. Because there's just a lot of dudes that are just insecure about playing video games. And some will outright say it. I've seen videos where guys are like, I can't play that, man. My wife will look at me differently. Like, can you just play stuff that you like to play, not based on what somebody else may feel? I've always been that way, and I know a lot of people aren't that way, and it's hard for people to be that way. So, but yeah, it's just, again, it's nuanced. It's a nuanced situation. I believe the game's probably, if they were being honest, not trying to make it something bigger than it is, or makes it something lesser than it is, I would say it's probably closer to being a 7.58, but Naughty Dog, it automatically gets an extra point just because Naughty Dog made it. So there's a Naughty Dog point. And sometimes Nintendo gets that extra point too. That probably happened with Skyward Sword. I like Skyward Sword. To me, Skyward Sword is about an 8. As far as video games, 8.5. But I remember like IGN giving it a 10. I'm like, come on. That's the Nintendo extra point. And same thing with Naughty Dog. They get an extra point just because it came from them. So, but yeah, that's where I am on. The reviews and how that all worked out. Man, I hope my computer doesn't shut off. I'm feeling good now. If I have to restart it, I'm gonna be a little bit annoyed. But anyway, Alex says, I am 21 and I define myself now as a gamer since the lockdown. Cool. Because when I was, much younger, I didn't think of myself as a gamer. My family would call me a game nerd because I played video games a lot, and they really didn't. Family and friends. Nobody really called themselves gamers when I was younger. When I was your age, which is 20 years ago. So, yeah, that's cool. Welcome to gamerism. I'm sure you've been playing a while, but like you said, identifying yourself. And you said you agree. Okay, cool. Let's see. Yeah, you mean... You mean like those people that hated Birds of Prey because the Harley beat them up? Yeah, exactly, Visor Grunt. Like, I think that movie got so much hate based upon the fact that, you know, it was a group of female. And it's not like that's not a comic. It is a comic. If you can have a bunch of guys team up as a comic book characters, why get all bent out of shape when... Because there are women in the world, right? People like to see themselves represented in things. What is wrong with that? Like, I don't understand what's wrong with that. If you're gay, you like to see yourself represented. If you're African American, you want to see yourself represented in media. If you're a woman, we like it. And it's not to say that women haven't been represented in media, because they have. I almost said we have. Hey. But to not to the same extent as men. Like, you don't put the same kind of money behind a female-led action movie that you see put behind male action-led movies. And, you know, and that's not always because there's gender prejudice. That's just, you know, because of sometimes old thinking that, oh, nobody's going to come out to see this if it's not some big action guy-led movies, because guys are the ones who watch that. That's you know, mostly true. But I think that's changing a lot as well, too. Because I could run out and go watch female-led action movies that look cool to me all the time. You know? So not everybody's that way. There's still an audience. You know? So just think of Wonder Woman versus Wonder Woman, how much money was put behind that and how much care and thought was put into that movie, versus something like, I don't know, Elektra. You remember that movie, Elektra? What was it, 2005 or so? You think that had anywhere near the budget that Wonder Woman had? Anywhere near the care in writing and all that stuff? No. Look at Superwoman or Supergirl, the movie. Like, how embarrassing. That movie set women back. It was so stupid, like, as far as what they thought women would want to see. So we're learning. We're evolving. A lot of people don't like evolution. A lot of people just want things to stay the same. And I'm comfortable. Please don't mess with what I got going on here. And what I was going to say, there's a lot of... it's hard for me to watch movie reviewers. Because like I said, sometimes it creeps up on you. I didn't know that this was a... how do I put this? Because I don't want to be insensitive. I see a lot of, like, white male movie reviewers who, like, congregate, have a fan base that congregates on their channel, and they're like, there's all this woe is me white guy stuff. Like, it's hard to be a white guy today. And I'm like, what? Like, they think they're under attack. They're under siege. They believe that they're under siege right now. And it's just it's like the Twilight Zone. And then, so since that's becoming a more popular point of view, you have, like, people doing it just because, oh, they realize that's popular, let me do that too. And it's not even from the heart. They don't even feel that way inside. They just say, oh, that's a popular thing, let me come from that angle as well. Yeah, man, all these women and people of color are taking over movies. And I'm like, where is this happening? And it's just the strangest thing. Like, I'll be watching the channel that I've watched for a while, and all of a sudden they'll show their... Like, this one guy, I don't even want to say who it is, because he has a fantastic stuff. But he was basically trying to say that, you know, basically talking about how, you know, people are getting more conscious about the fact that, you know, people of color need to be represented, women need to be represented in movies and media. And he was equating that, well, people aren't more racist today than they were back then. Look at all these top performers, top entertainment people that people liked back then. Michael Jackson was at the top, and Eddie Murphy was at the top, and it's like, really? That's your defense? Is that entertainers were more accepted? Entertainers never had a problem. if you're a good entertainer, that's what they want you to be. That's what they wanted people of color to be, was their entertainment. So saying, look at the 80s. These guys, these people were black, Michael Jackson and Prince and all these people have, were at the top of their game. So there was no racism? So it's not more racist back now than you're speaking right to the stereotype. You might as well have said, I have a black friend. That was shocking to me. And the thing is, I don't think he was trying to be that way. I don't think he was trying. He didn't realize saying that these black entertainers were doing well back then. So what's the problem? It can't be worse than it now than it was back then. He didn't even again, a nuance. I could totally cancel him and not watch him anymore, but I don't think he was coming from a place of vitriol or disingenuous. No, not just what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think he was coming from a bad place. I don't think he was trying to be. He just didn't realize it. He just didn't understand it. And that's the thing you got to do. As a black person, you have to educate. And a lot of people, don't want to receive that education, unfortunately. And, and again, nuance. There are some black people that take it too far. They act like they are more aggrieved than they are. So there's nuance in everything. But I was just that's a thing now. On there's all these channels that are POC derangement syndrome channels. They're worried about. It's like they're coming for our jobs. They're taking our jobs. Now they're taking our movie roles, which it's not happening. But you wouldn't know it watching these channels. And a lot of them probably get the attention that they don't really want to get or expect to get. It just kind of turns out that way. That it's funny because you have all these guys talking from snowflakes. Oh, you guys are snowflakes, and they complain so much. They complain way more than these so-called snowflakes they talk about. They are constantly whining about everything. Oh, here you go. This is gender politics. And it's just everything isn't about what you think it's about. And that's toxic. That is a toxic place to be in. So, all right, moving on. Okay, let me back up a little bit. With Karatami being released in November 2020 in Japan, they replaced popular characters with less popular and change character sexuality for the sake of it rather than develop a character. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But that's not the fault of them being a female character. That's just the fault of them being lazy. That's the fault of the producers being lazy and either thinking that, oh, we're just gonna throw a woman in here and everybody will be cool and it'll do well just because of that. And so you have these people getting upset over that. And not liking the fact that women are being pushed into stuff, quote unquote pushed into stuff, because nobody says, again, in the 80s, and there were some really good action females ladies who never got the shine. Cynthia Rothrock, she was as dope as any Van Damme or anybody else at the time, but she did not get the accolades he got, and she could fight, and she still fight. I think she's 60-something years old, and she's still pretty badass. So there is that situation where the women get overlooked. And that's one that just sticks out to me. But if you weren't a bulky white guy in the 80s, action, you couldn't get, you wouldn't get the budget. You wouldn't get the type of movies. I remember being really excited for Carl Weathers' Action Jackson. Tyler knows what's up. Cynthia Rothrock was dope. I I remember being really excited for Action Jackson. I don't know how well the movie did. It probably didn't do that well. But I got excited because, oh yeah, Carl Weathers. I know him. He's, they killed him off in Rocky, but, it's a black guy leading an action movie. I can relate, And so now that was, that was a thing that just didn't happen for people of color. So it's cool to have that happen now. And there were a lot of really bad action movies starring white people all over the place. Like, there was definitely that. And nobody complained and said, oh, they got the movie because they were white. Nobody said that. So if white people are allowed to have bad characters in bad movies, women should be allowed to have bad characters in bad movies too. That's equality. So, yeah, and Predator. He got killed off in Predator too. But everybody did, except for Arnold and and the chick. So, but yeah, like I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more Action Jackson movies. I wanted to see more, but we didn't get that. So, and we still really don't get that today. There's no Mission Impossible starring black guy. I'm like Tenet. Like I'm like hoping it does well. I hope it's a good movie first, and that way we'll do well. Or if it's a good movie and it doesn't do well, then that concerns me. But we don't see that a lot. Steven Seagal, he was terrible. He's terrible. He's terrible. Steven Seagal. How many movies? He still stars in movies today. And I'm sitting around waiting on Wesley Snipes to do something. Like, you guys gotta get out of your bubble. Like, the ones that are in the bubble. I'm not saying everybody. But Steven Seagal is terrible. And how many movies did he get in the 80s and 90s? And he still is in movies today. He's allowed to be terrible. So why can't women have terrible characters? Why can't black people have terrible lead characters? Think about that. Just think about that. So when they make the woman character, she has to be perfect and great and at everything. Her character has to be like, Oscar worthy. Is that fair? Like, I don't think that's fair. Because that doesn't happen on the other side. Cornelius. And they lost their shit with the mention of Idris Elba being Bond. Yeah, like, I'm a huge Bond fan. Huge Bond fan. And it hurt my soul to see people getting bent out of shape about Idris maybe being Bond. Like, why? Nothing in Bond isn't about his race. Now, you have characters that are about their race. Black Panther. He's about his race. You can't change Black Panther with a white guy. I would argue you can't change Blade with the white dude. Because that was part of him. But you could. You technically could. I wouldn't get bent out of shape about that. There's a lot of characters. There's tons of characters. And people will say, well, why don't they can't find... Well, they get black heroes movies and stop swapping... Because, again, comic book writers, they created characters based on what they knew themselves. And a lot of times, anytime they come up, or a white dude would come up with a black character, he'd name him Black something. Because he didn't relate. That's how you get Black Panther. How you get Black Manta. Black Adam. Like, I mean, that's just what it is. So, when other people come along and they want to interpret something, why is it unfair for them to interpret, again, going back to Jesus, why is it unfair for somebody to interpret something their way now that they have it? I don't understand that thinking. That is suspect thinking to me. So, waiting for Blue Marble and Static. Dude, Cornelius, Static is my boy. I'm waiting for Static. I need Static Shock so bad in my life. You have no idea. What is Warner Brothers doing? I don't know. The iron is hot right now. Let's go. All right. Let's see. They have really big. Oh, I'm too far back now. What was like? Oh yeah, here we go. People don't like boring characters. It has nothing to do with race. Yeah, you're right. But there are a lot of boring. Everybody's in movies. So again, why is it a bigger deal? You know, I forget the name of the series. It's named after the guy who, it's named after the character who plays in it, John something. I can't remember. But his character is super boring. You know, like, so if a black dude was playing that character, the more interesting thing is kind of like his kind of mysterious backstory that you don't really get. It's not going to help me when you talk about this because I can't think of the damn movie and the book. Halle Berry's Catwoman pretty much killed that character, says Visor Grunt. Yeah, I don't know what they were doing with that. That they didn't pick. For the longest time, I didn't think that it was based on Batman's Catwoman. I thought it was like they were just trying to like get some attention by calling it Catwoman. Because it wasn't set in Gotham. I don't remember the movie that much. But there was nothing that had to do with like DC characters in it. They just put Halle Berry. They said, "Oh, we're gonna put Halle Berry in a leather skin tight suit and gold." No, it doesn't work that way. So again, that's proving my point. It's like, oh, they thought they could just entice the guys to come see it because everybody loves Halle Berry. Put her in something scantily clad. The guys are going to show up, and it's kind of related to Batman. And then the women, we're going to love it because there's a lead woman in the movie, and we're just going to go out and see it because of that. And we're not going to care about the characters or story or any of that stuff. That's where they fail. That's a marketing movie. That's a marketing research movie. Dude wasn't even a Jedi. Who are you talking about? Finn? Oh, yeah. Oh, you haven't heard? Finn being a black stormtrooper is the end of the Star Wars franchise as we know. Oh, my gosh. Like, you're just not paying attention. Now, here's Finn, who wasn't a character they swapped out from. They didn't change Han Solo to a black dude. He was a new character. And he was the first thing you saw in that trailer, the first trailer, where he just pops up in the desert. And people lost their damn minds. Like, did you not see that? People on the other side? Did you not see the reaction to Finn? This is after we had Sam Jackson as a full-on Jedi Master. And I don't remember... He was a Jedi Master. I don't remember there being vitriol around that. So to say that things aren't worse is you're not paying attention because, and then again, I know social media boosts things up as well, because we're more integrated into each other's lives now than we used to be. So there is that, but I mean, it's got to be, you just got to be not paying attention to not see that, there is something different right now. Yeah, and I was hoping again to see him. What's up, Jonathan? I was hoping to see him become what they alluded to him to become, which is a Jedi. Because he obviously was Force sensitive. What's up, Zeno? So they kind of, it seems like they were afraid to explore. What do you call it? I can't even think of it, and I'm in one. what do they even call it? I don't call it anything. I just call it being married to my wife. But what do they call it? Multiracial relationship, or I don't know what there's a word for it. I can't think of it for some reason. But Zeno says effing waste of a character. Yeah, total waste. Like, that's a whole nother live stream. Me and my Star Wars disdain, my Star Wars sequel trilogy disdain. But yeah, just, you know, you got to start thinking outside of yourself, people. And understand that including new people into something isn't automatically taking away something from you, because that's slippery slope thinking. I'll just say, just because somebody else is getting some shine doesn't mean that somebody's going to be, or there's something going to be taken away from you. So, and if that was the case, something has been taken away from people for forever, and they're finally getting something. Why not rejoice in that? You know? If somebody is specifically took a job away from you, you're going to be an actor, and they took that, you know, you feel like they gave that job to somebody else just because they wanted to be, you know, progressive and inclusive or something. Then you have a point. Like if they took a bad actor and put him in something just because of their color or gender. But then on the other side of that, they've been putting white people in stuff because of their gender from the beginning. You know, like, do you not understand that? Do you not see that? That certain people have gotten privileges from the beginning because of what color they are. And you're getting upset because that may be happening. Oh, I just want it equal. Well, that's easy to say when it's been equal for you forever. It's easy to say, oh, I just want everything to be equal now. After it hasn't been equal, after people have been set back for hundreds of years, after it hasn't been equal for people for hundreds of years, now, oh, I just want it to be equal. Well, that's great, but in order for it to get equal, there has to be some shifting going on, so it can be equal for everybody. Let's see. And I don't know. Again, if you don't understand that, you need to talk to more people. You need to experience more things in the world. Because you're seeing it from one very narrow window. So, Cray, I know you were in here. What's up, Cray? Morpheus. Are you talking about racism in the movie industry? Yes. Well, not the hard R racism, but race in movies and just media in general. Finn was the perfect character. He did a great job at what he was given. Yeah, he wasn't bad in the movie. He wasn't bad per se, but they didn't give him a whole lot. They hinted at him being more than what he was, but it didn't turn out. Again, to me, that's more what happened in The Last Jedi. So that's a whole nother podcast, like I said. But yeah, I mean, that's, you know, that's what it is. Again, I think I read that already. People just want better characters. It has nothing to do with race. Yeah, it's easy to say that now, Yusuf, that people want better characters. When we've had pretty bad characters of all, you know, throughout time. But the minute that it becomes a woman or a black person or a person of color, then, oh, I want better characters. But you've been watching movies with terrible characters that were Caucasian forever. So, again, equality is having bad characters of all colors and genders. Okay? That's equality. Just saying. Never watched Rise of Skywalker. Heard it was bad. You know what? Rise of Skywalker is more watchable to me than Last Jedi. I'll probably never watch Last Jedi ever again. Rise of Skywalker had a lot of things. I don't want to say a lot. It had 50% of things that I really liked and 50% of things that I really didn't like. So it was a, what's the word? When like half and half. I tell you, the lights turn on and I forget all vocabulary. I lose all vocabulary skills. Polarizing. It's polarizing within itself. So, Morpheus. So I am being ignored when I ask questions? No. What did you ask? I mean, you just... Let me see. All right. We got to move on. So, Morpheus asked about the Wii U games, and that's what we're going to talk about now, because I said I was going to get to that. All right, so it's not a new game, and it's for Wii and Wii U. It's going to be a separate disc for Wii, a separate disc for Wii U, and it is Miami Shakedown. Is that what it's called? I wrote it down. Yeah, or is it Takedown? I think it's Shakedown. It's an indie game. It's a kind of a sequel to, my God, what's the game on Wii that I used to play? My son played the crap out of. I can't remember the name of it. But it's like a top-down kind of action game, kind of like top-down Grand Theft Auto type of game. And so they just announced that they're going to be releasing both those games for Wii and for Wii U. The Wii U version obviously will be in HD, and it will have specific features to that. Same thing with the Wii. It will be in SD though, obviously, but that's an SD console, and it will have like, you know, waggle features or whatever. Shakedown. What did I say? Oh, Miami or Shakedown Miami. I said it backwards. I flipped it. Yeah, Shakedown Miami. Shakedown Hawaii. I don't know why I have Miami in my brain, because there's a Miami Takedown or something game, but you know what I'm talking about. So that's coming to Wii and Wii U, I think in July and August. See Hotline Miami, that's why I'm all mixed up and these lights are burning my brain. Tylord. So yeah. No, not downloadable, only on disc. So yes, both of these games will come on disc for Wii and for Wii U. Wii will have a disc and Wii U will have a disc, which is great because I was waiting to get this game on Switch and I just forgot, and came out in limited quantities, and it's super expensive to buy physical because I want a physical copy on Switch, and I'll just keep paying attention, so I may end up getting it anyway. But it's so interesting to me, and I'm sure that they're hoping for a lot of this as well, collector attention. So there's some collector attention in it for me, so I'm expecting. I want to get it for that. To have, this is the last Wii game and the last Wii U game, and they're on disc, and hopefully I can get the Switch version at a decent price beforehand, and that way I'll never open these, and they'll just be like collector items. So I'll have to look into this because I don't own or want a Nintendo Switch. You don't want a Switch? Wow. There are some really great Switch games. Switch only games, but yeah, so cool game coming to Wii and Wii U on physical discs, so that's great, man. That is great. Very happy for that. What else do we have here? Shout out to, if you care about physical stuff like that, there's a channel that's on top of it all the time, and that's how I stay informed a lot, is Switch Watch, and they're always like posting videos about physical Switch games coming, or physical Switch games coming this week, and that kind of stuff. A lot of times it is import games, but a lot of those import games have English options for the dialogue, for the for the words and stuff, for the subtitles. So That's why I paid a lot of attention to them, because I like my physical copies. I mean, all these games come to Switch, but sometimes they only come physical in certain territories, certain areas, like only in Japan or only in the PAL territories. So Switch Watch, like Switch and Watch together. Oh, I just turned on my Apple Watch. They have it's a really good channel, really cool stuff, and they do really good reviews, very slick. So if you're into physical Switch games, physical Switch media, and you want to keep an eye out and stuff, and when it's coming out, where it's coming, that's a good channel to watch. All right, so last thing is Switch 2020. Hopefully I can get through this without my computer shutting down, because I know it will after a certain time. Let's see real quick. Tabletop says, come on, we know there's going to be another Just Dance for the Wii. I hope not. Shoot, they came out with Just Dance 2020 for the Wii. Just seen it at Walmart. Yeah, Just Dance 2020 was the last Switch game. They come out with Just Dance 2021. Wow. T, I'm looking at Resident Evil 2 N64 carts on eBay, but worried I may be getting a repro. What should I look for? What should you look for? All right. Give me 1 second here, and I'll look at mine, and I'll tell you. Because I remember something, but I'm not exactly sure. Hold on 1 second. All right, so I'm going to try to do this. I had to grab my N64 games. All right, this is going to be a little tough, hopefully. All right, so, because I know I have at least one repro. I think it's... I've got too many games. Too many games. You want to see what I'm digging through here. These are some of my N64 games. The others are, you can kind of see them on the chair back there. Alright, so, I'm trying to remember, what is the, what is the repro N64 game I have? I think I only have one. But, I think it's, oh my gosh, what's the name of that game? It's the RPG. Alright, so here is the Japanese import game. See if my camera gets it in. That's Custom Robo V2. I think that's 2, right? Yeah. So it's the second one. And then you look at the back. It's a little beat up. It says N64 or Nintendo 64 cassette. and you can see the difference in the divots at the bottom there, and the I think that's probably the best way to tell. Look at the screw. Most of the time, a repro cart won't use these N64 bits. I think that's what they call them, the N64 bit. It'll probably be a regular Phillips head screw. So if you're seeing a picture of a game, if you see a picture of the game, like say on eBay or something, and they only show the front, first of all, don't buy it. Ask them first if it's a repro or not. And if it's not, if it is a repro, I should say, I wish I could open this up and show you. I'm pretty sure they won't have that silver panel on the inside, but that's another way to tell. But a lot of times, I wish I can just find. Oh, hold on, knocked over my mic there. Hold on a second. It's somebody asked, do repros work good? Yeah, I mean the one I have anyway. I can't vouch for all of them, but the one I have certainly works just like any other game does. It's the RPG. I know that. Hold on 1 second. I'm looking at the bottom here. Not Command and Conquer. That's the RTS. Oh yeah, I think another thing to look at. I don't know if you can see this or not in the picture or in the video here. There is a little indenture, like a number. And I'm pretty sure every N64 game has that. And that's usually like a lot number to tell you which copy that is. Let me look at the other ones to make sure. Yep, they all have it, I'm pretty sure. Yep. So all your N64 games, if they're authentic, should have that indentation. And it's not written. It's just like it was pressed. You can barely see it at the top here. It's hard for me to, without the light. See that little, it's a number. I think it's 19 on this one. Yeah, 19. And every N64 game has that. And I think that's the best way to authenticate it on the outside. But again, if it's a repro, it usually won't have the N64 game bit. It'll have a what do you call it? Actually, hold on. I know a game that should represent exactly what I'm talking about. Hold on 1 second. Like, not even, like 5 seconds. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Now, my shirt's falling down. All right, now here. This is a game I bought. This is a repro cart. Because this game never came out on N64. It was supposed to. It was finished and everything. But the company didn't want to make the cartridges because they thought it was too expensive after the game didn't do well on the original PlayStation. So it never came. 40 winks, right? So what happened is a company got the rights to it and they made carts for it. So if you look on the back, you know, obviously it says important. Some will trick you and try to act like they are Nintendo 64 game packs. So if they say something like this, then they're certainly not, you know, original 64. But look at let's see if I can get closer. See that screw bit? That is a Phillips screw head. And a repro cart will most likely have a Phillips screw head. You know, so ask the person if they're trying to hide that from you. They're trying to trick you into thinking it's a straight up real N64 game. Say, well, let me see the back. I think that's your best bet. So look for the screw bit, and as you can see, there is no indenture in the back sticker. There's nothing there in that top corner. So that's the best way to authenticate them on the outside. Okay, so that's a way to not get trick stitched if you want to know. I tried to link up with you on the Wii U Call of Duty Ghosts, so we exchanged buddy lists but you didn't give me any additional contact info. We could set up gaming sessions. All right, so I vaguely remember that, Morpheus. I don't know what happened. I can be a very busy person at times, and I just forget things. So I will. Let's see. After this is over, send me a. Are we friends? Oh, you said you don't have. Message me. Are you on Twitter? If you can send me a message on Twitter to remind me. If not, I will just click on your. Just be paying attention to your YouTube. I'll click onto your icon and type a message in your the community place. I think you have that. I think everybody has it. And say, hey, blah blah blah. I'll hit you up that way. But Twitter would be probably the safest in case you just miss my message to you. So. Gamebit. Yeah, Gamebit. The N64 Gamebit screwhead. That's the best way, I think, to tell. Because all of them have it. Even the N64, Sega. Look at me. The Japanese N64 games have it as well. Here's another one. Oh, yeah. No. That's Japanese. I was going to say Bomberman. That one's from Blockbuster. Yeah, so that's the best way. The Gamebit. But yeah, another lesser known fact is that you can play Japanese games in your N64. Your American or NTSC N64. If you mod it, and it's not a big deal of a mod. I'll show you. I don't know if it'll show up or not. But this one has been modded so I can play all regions. There's little, if you can see how I filed off that little gray area in the back there? You just have to file them out, and then you can fit every cartridge in. Because if you look at the Japanese versus the North American divots, they're different. See how they're wide here? There's a wide, and these aren't. They're little tiny. That's just to keep you from being able to push the cartridge all the way in. But if you get rid of the little plastic feet, you can file it off. You can take it all the way out. I don't like that because it gets a little more, you're more susceptible to dust in your N64. So I wouldn't do that. But yeah. But yeah, so what was I on? Switch 2020. I'm not, like I said, you saw my little video. Was it yesterday that I put the video up? Saying, because everything that's actually going on, and we got two major things going on right now, especially here in the U.S. I'm not overly critical of Nintendo right now. If it was a regular year, I'd be like, yo, y'all tripping. But the thing is, they said that they're still on track. That's what they said anyway, as far as the games they wanted to put out for this year. So nothing has been pushed or moved or not talked about because of the pandemic or anything else. So I found that to be surprising because they talked about how they've had issues working on stuff because they don't have, like we do in the West here, easy setups and transitions for people to work from home. But maybe they rectified that pretty quickly. I don't know. But they're not having any issues. So, do you have a Discord server? Oh, yeah. I don't have my own server. I don't think I set up one. But I'm on Discord. You can hit me up on there as well. If you're on... I should link the Juices Loose one. The Juices Loose Discord has a server. That's the podcast I'm in every Monday night at 7 p.m. But it's on Terminator Juice's channel, not on this channel. So yeah, just I don't know if you can you search it? I think you can search it. So it's just, the juice is loose, and I think he abbreviates it, so it may look like that, Oh, I spelled it wrong. JIL. I didn't mean to do that. It's just hard for me to reach over and type. So, can I post a link? I'm not the best person at that. What I can do, because I think it's on Juice's channel, the link. Let me see if I can find that for you. Whoops. This is really hard to do. Wait, that's not where I should be doing that. Hold on. Multitasking on air is not something I'm good at. So let's go here. All right. Terminator Juice. All right. I'm pretty sure he has it. A link to it. No. What are you doing? In his Discord, or the Discord link on his channel, or on the videos, on his videos. So let's check. He doesn't have it there. Let's see. Juice's podcast, maybe. No, he just has our channels. Why wouldn't you have the Discord? Oh, there it is. He does have the Discord. Alright. Alright, so if you have a question or anything like that, if you want to reach me, you can reach me through that. And yeah, it looks like it's working. Good. Alright. So there you go. There you are. Alright. Let me see. I know I missed you guys' questions up here, so let me go back up. Let's see. Yusuf says Wonder Woman I like. Stitch. Oh, I read that already. The N64 repro cart. So you're good on that. What to look for there, Stitch, I hope. I heard Ubisoft had like 20-year contract for Just Dance on Wii. Oh gosh. Switch is region free. Yes, that's right. Switch is region free. So even if you import stuff, some games come physical that are from another country, like that are from Japan. But some games have. A lot of those games have English subtitles, so you can switch to English. Or when you put it in the Switch, it automatically puts you to English because of your settings in your Switch itself. So you don't have to do anything. So there are a lot of games that don't have physical copies outside of Japan or PAL regions that obviously PAL UK anyway will switch to English automatically. So yes, it's region free, but you have to make an account for that region. I tried to link up. Oh, you don't have to make an account for. You only have to have the account for your region. It doesn't matter if you have that region or not in your account. Because I play Japanese games that are only what's the my gosh, the Capcom Wolf game. I can't think of it. The paintbrush. You know what I'm talking about. I play that, and I play that on my English account. You don't have to have a Japanese account to play it. You can play it on your account. As long as it is a Switch game, it released on Switch, You can play it. Doesn't matter. Let's see. Bicultural relationship. Yeah, like I still can't. Biracial, right? That doesn't sound right either because it just means. I guess that's it. I don't know. It doesn't sound right to me because I don't even think about that stuff. But Canon Fett's clones were stormtroopers. Who gives a damn if a black person played a stormtrooper? A lot of people did. Sadly, tabletop. Finn is the best character. I read that already. Pickled Snoke was terrible. Yes. Shakedown. All right, we read that already. Downloadable on disc. Read that. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything. As long as I can do that. Whereas, there's not a ton of people in here, I should be able to get to your question. So if I didn't, let me know. Wonder Woman I like. Read that. I heard Ubisoft. Yeah, I read that. Okay, I went region free. All right, so love the N64 collection vids. Thank you, Stitch. I'm actually going to do a N64 collection live video at some point because people seem to like those. So I'm going to go through all my games again in one video live. So that should be cool. I do Repro's work. Yeah, I read that. Zeno, dunno if that's. Oh, you're talking about. I had a Repro N64 cart in the past. The Nintendo name symbol on the back was slightly deformed. Yeah, you can tell they can't copy them perfectly a lot of times. There's something going to be off. So if you have N64 games, just look at them and say, all right, this doesn't look the same. Doesn't look right. And if it's another thing, if it's too clean, if you're buying an N64 game, not in a box, not new and shit, and it's really clean, that to me that's a dead giveaway too, because it's obviously it hasn't been sitting in protection. 20 years, 25 years later, it should be, it should have some wear on it. So that's another giveaway if it just looks too clean. Game bit screw. So what do you think about Legend of Neil? Are you willing to give it a shot out on your channel in a separate video, or it'll live stream like this? I think it's okay. Like I need to give him a little bit more time, I guess. But yeah, if I really get into it, then yeah, I'll do that. Master Yoshi. I think that's it, right? No, going a little further. Got it. Alright. Checking a couple of now. Okami, yes, that's the one I was looking for. I don't know why I couldn't remember. These lights. Alright, and I was wrong, I guess. I made Japanese account for no reason. No, you don't no, you're not wrong for making it for no. There's no. If you want to download games from Japan, yeah, you need a Japanese account for that. So you're not wrong. I think you were just mixing that up. But like if I remember there's demos that were coming out earlier in Japan, and so if you don't have a Japanese account, you couldn't download those games. But it's only for downloading that you need a Japanese account. But for playing physical carts, you don't need one. Tabletop. So you weren't completely wrong. You were just kind of mixing it up a little bit. Jarion, what's up? Just stopping by on my 15-minute break. Thank you for stopping by, Jarion. Appreciate that. Stitch, I just looked up some repros and labels look really glossy. Yeah, that's another thing. Glossy, really glossy labels, Stitch. So there's a lot of tells. Really glossy labels. Cart only games that are really clean. Game bit screws. And the little, like I said, every one of them has that little divot, that little indent of a number right there. It's hard to see here in this camera, but if you look at the back, you'll see it. It's pretty easy to see. It's right up under the region and patents, U.S. patent stuff. That's where the little number is. This one says 12. And I think that is the number. Let me see. I could be wrong about that. Japanese ones have it too. I think that's a lot number. an internal lot number. So, all right. I just sent you a friend request on Discord after joining that Discord server. Accept at your convenience. I will do. I don't want to open up too many more things on my PC here, but I will. As soon as I get off of here, I'll accept. But yeah, so 2020. I have a feeling that it's going to be really cool towards the end of the year. Some nice surprises and some stuff that we've wanted. I'm not sure, but I can totally understand people who are not all like overly excited about 2020. Juice from the Juices Loose podcast, Terminator Juice. I don't think he's bought anything yet because he's not a Animal Crossing fan. He wasn't compelled to buy Xenoblade Chronicles remastered. He's not a Paper Mario fan, so he's not really looking to get into that game. Which I think he probably should give a shot. But I don't know. But I can totally understand where people would be, But like I said, I'm very distracted by other things going on. I talked about this being an upgrade year for me. Like, I'm upgrading everything, my TVs. I'm upgrading my Xbox to an Xbox Series X. I'm upgrading my Mac. I'm upgrading my PC hardware. I'm buying a new Mac because you can't really upgrade Macs. So I'm buying a new Mac. I just got a new ultra wide 4K monitor, and I got that for my birthday. My birthday's on Monday, by the way. So I'll be on Juice's podcast because it's Monday. And it's just another birthday. When you get a certain age, you don't care. Once you get past 26, when you get better insurance or whatever it is, you stop caring. You talk, you hit your milestone years. You're 30 and you're 40 and you're 50, I guess. But, it's whatever. So, yeah, how are you guys feeling about 2020? Are you on Switch? For those of you who have a Switch. Oh no, he crashed. He said it was going to happen. Oh no, did I crash? Me? Looks like I'm still going here. Oh. Maybe it just happened on your end? Maybe I missed it. Maybe I did. I don't know. Yeah, so hopefully I won't. I probably just jinxed it. We just jinxed it just now. Hope you give it a shout out. I only watched the first couple of vids, Master Yoshi, that I saw. It was about a week ago. I can't remember exactly what it was. But, they were cool. Let's see. Once you hit that survey category of 35 plus, 35 plus, that's when your insurance gets really low. Everything gets much more manageable. So, once you get 35, it's like, whatever, man. I don't care. Only thing I care about is my face isn't falling off or my hair isn't falling out. For some reason I decided later in my life I'm going to start growing dreads. So that's a thing. But I think my hair is safe. We'll see. Zeno, I just picked up Xenoblade DE and I'm hyped for Paper Mario. I get like 5 to 6 $60 games per year. So far, so good. Very cool, Zeno. Hope you're enjoying it. Is this the first time you played Xenoblade? Zeno? Is the first time you played it or not? How old are you, T? We gotta be around the same age, 36. No, man. I'm a little older than that. I'm on the other side of 40. So, yeah. I will be 42 come Monday. And Do the math. I'm not good at math. Well, I'm not bad, but I'm not great at math. Quick at math. That means Star Fox 64 came out because it came out on my birthday. I need to do a video about that. Or it came out. Maybe it was the 28th, but I'll do a vid about it. Because I talked about it being the last game my mom bought me as a kid. So that would be what 23 years ago. 23 years ago. Where does the time go, man? Where does the time go? Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I'm just lucky, tabletop. Right now, anyway. I'm sure at some point, these bad boys are gonna start getting loose. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's just a natural thing that we got to deal with. It's not just men; it happens to women too. So, the Metabots game is gonna be good. Says Zeno. You need to watch all of them. It only takes 2 to 3 minutes to get through all of them. Yeah, I mean, they're not long. Yeah, you're right. But, you know, I got a lot going on over here. I am a husband, father of 2, and there's a lot of stuff going on in our immediate area. I haven't even been on because I got called out from not watching videos of my fellow YouTubers because I just haven't been on YouTube. That's one reason you haven't seen me make videos because I haven't even been on YouTube that much. So you look like you're in your late to mid 20s, T. You know what they say about black folk. Black don't crack. Yeah, I mean, I hear that all the time. As a teacher especially, like, my students are really surprised when I tell them how old I am. And I have to, like, show my ID. And then, like, they told me, no way, it's fake. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I don't smoke. I don't really drink. I mean, I have a beer once in a while. But, you know, you take care of yourself, you know. And, yeah, being black, black doesn't crack, as they say. But it does crack on a lot of us, so it's not, you know, not that it can't happen. So, you know, I think video games help keep me young as well. Kids, I love kids. They help keep me young. So, yep. And it's genetic too. Like my mom turned 60. I still haven't sent her present yet. I told her though. Money's a little weird right now, but she looks like I should look. She looks like she's in her, you know, mid 40s. So it's also genetic. And my mom looks really young for her age too. So just lucky like that, I guess. But yeah, smoking and drinking, that stuff will age you beyond your years. So stay away from that. You know, I mean, it's a little, as far as the sun goes, we're a little bit more protected, us folks. That's why they say black doesn't crack, because we're just we're more protected against the sun. So that helps us to age better as well. So I don't have any children though, so my hair isn't gray from children driving me up the wall. Yeah, I got some grays, bro. I got some grays. But you know, I actually started graying before my son was born. But then I guess you could say my siblings, because I helped raise them too. And my brother made me cry today. My little brother. He's not little. He's what? Oh my gosh, how old is he now? 28, 27. His birthday is 4 days before mine. My family, we're all like June. We're all like summer babies. We're all cancers. It's just weird. My mom isn't. She's just before. She's June 5th. I forget what that is. I think it's Taurus. I think I could be wrong, but anyway, we are all close in it. He wanted to send me like $100, and I'm like, no, I don't need, don't send me that, man. But he was like, because we don't really talk a lot right now. Over the last couple of years, I just moved back to even being close to him in the area where he lives. So he was like, I miss you. You helped raise me. You instilled a lot of great values in me, and I just want to give it back to you because you gave to me and gave to us so well as a big brother. And I lost it. I was streaming because we don't really talk like that. Me and him, we're close, but he's my little brother, and he's like a man now. He has a kid of his own, and he was a little hard-headed, a little hot-headed, and Capricorn. My son is a Capricorn, Morpheus. He's January 22nd, so 21st. So there you go. I know we haven't really talked like that. I love you, bro, that kind of stuff. But for him to like articulate what I meant to him, and how I affected him, that was big for me. I'm like, so I lost it. I started crying when I heard that. So he basically said no. He forced me to take his birthday present. So I'm going to do that. I guess I want to honor his his wishes there. But I said I was going to put it in my son's account because my son is his godson, and so I'll do that. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to what's going to happen. I hope Nintendo does something for E3 or they're something. It's not E3 obviously, but an announcement. What do you call them? What do they call? We haven't had one so long. Nintendo Direct of some kind that lays out the rest of the year. I'm sure they will. I hope they don't wait too long, because I think they're going to have stuff in August and September. Games coming out, or at least they want to come out. So I would like to see what's going to happen with that. Tabletop Morpheus, December 30th here. I always feel bad for people born in like mid to late December, because it's like you kind of get screwed out of something. You get screwed out of a birthday present. Somebody might just hold off your Christmas present and give it to you on your birthday. That kind of thing. I have a friend whose birthday is like December 22nd or 27th, so it's 2 days after Christmas, and like, you can have a birthday party, but you're gonna get screwed on presents. So, yeah, I wish I had that relationship with my older brother. We're not very close. Yeah, I mean, we weren't super close for a while. Like I said, I was living in Massachusetts for a while, so it was hard to do that. But even if I don't talk to him, I feel close to him. That's just the kind of family we are. We fight like enemies, but we love like family. Like. But I always try to be like Big Bro. I always try to be a place that they can go, or a person that they can talk to, that's kind of above emotions. So they feel like they can tell me stuff. And so I hope that, I instill that within them. That they all talk to me that way now. The older ones anyway. Like my oldest sister. I'm the oldest. But like the next oldest is my sister T. And she she tells me to stop stuff all the time. You're like, you're like the dad. You're like my dad growing up, blah, blah, blah. And, I'm always trying to like live up to your standards and all this stuff. And I'm like, I guess I did a good job. So I had kids before I had my own kids. My siblings were, because they were much younger than me. My sister T, she's like the closest to my age. She's 7 years younger than me. So I used to change her diapers and all kinds of stuff too. You know, and then all the other ones are much younger. So I have one sibling who's the baby, and he is 18 years younger than me. So he was born when I was 18, right? No, when I was 20. So he's 16 years younger than me, right? That would make him 20. That would make him 20 years younger, not 16. I'm going the wrong way. See, math. So he's 20 years younger than me. Imagine that. So they're like my kids, my siblings. But I didn't want to always treat them like kids. I wanted them to, look to me like a big brother as well. So, hey T, how are you doing with everything going on in the world? Boom, boom, boom. Nice one there, Antonio. Yeah, I got you. It's hard for a sibling to take direction from another sibling. Yeah, I mean, that's hard. It was a little easier for me, like I said, because I'm so much older than them. So, it's easier for them to look at me like that. But if you're like 3 and 2 and 4 even years young or older, it's a little tougher for... I'm like, well, I'm the same age. You can't tell me what to do, that type of thing. So... It's every situation is going to be different as far as that goes, but I will tell you this: even if you're not there now, I don't know how old you are, Morpheus. I think you just said it. Did you say how old you were? Were you the one that said you were 36 or so? Who said that? Who said they were 36? Well, whoever that was. But at some point, you get there. You get to a point where it's like, this is all silly. Like right now, I have a sibling. I'm not like with all my siblings. I have one sibling right now that I'm very upset with still, and this is a years-long issue that we've had. And even right now, I don't know if it'll ever be resolved. But you would think at some point stuff fades away, your family, and, at that point you're just like, this is stupid. Let's, before we die, let's not go out with this thing over us. So, heck yeah, Big Brother says tabletop. Sometimes people tell you to watch shows that have 9 seasons or so, but you're willing to watch a short series that only has only 2 or 3 hours to get through, and it's a Zelda parody. So I didn't say I wasn't going to, Master Yoshi. Now I feel like I'm being pressured. I said I would watch it. That should be good enough. I was in the middle again. My time is precious, no matter how minimal it may seem to everybody. My time is precious. That's why it's so hard for me to even schedule these things, these live streams. When some people can schedule them regularly throughout every day, I may say, "Oh, I'm going to be on blah blah blah," and I don't show up. It's not because I don't want to. It's just stuff happens. I have a wife to tend to. I have 2 young siblings, 2 young children to tend to. I'm the oldest of 8, so I am dealing with my family, my extended family, as well. I have a elderly father, and there's times that I'm really worried about, because he is in that age bracket that's really susceptible to a COVID. So, I have a lot to worry about that has nothing to do with entertainment. So, I'm sure you can understand that. Life is too short for regrets. That is true. Some things are just really tough to get over. And I'm still young enough to be really annoyed and upset by this situation. But at some point, but I will tell you this, it's going to take that sibling, to fix this, because I was doing something. I'm not gonna get into it in personal, but as I said about my other siblings, they, took value in what I gave to them, and this sibling did not. And not only did they didn't take value in that, they crossed me above that. So it's gonna be them growing up and coming to the realization that they need to grow up and fix this situation, because it's not my job to do that. So, Antonio, I really appreciate your live streams. Unfortunately, I can't always watch. We also have a huge time difference. Yeah, I understand. Thank goodness that we have. It's not the same. Obviously, I understand when you're watching a replay because you're not there interacting with the chat and all that stuff. So it kind of sucks. I wish I could do them earlier. I wish I could accommodate everybody, because then I get maximum views. I get maximum viewership, which would be great. I would love that. But we live on a globe. We live on a sphere. Some people think we live on a flat plane, but we live on a sphere, and there's different times and different places. So people have different things they are dealing with in their life. So. But yeah, so hopefully 2020 will be great for Switch. I have a feeling there's going to be at least one whoa game. That would be amazing. I would like to have two, but No More Heroes. I don't know why I didn't even mention this, but it's because Suda was trolling. He was talking about something, and he put No More Heroes video footage behind him. It was a green screen, and so you can kind of see No More Heroes 3. But that was so Suda to do that. It's hilarious. I was upset, but I started laughing about it. It was so funny that he did that he did that. So Suda. I'll just say that. It was perfect. So No More Heroes is coming this year, so that's great. No More Heroes 3. So I'm super excited for that. I'm going to maybe try to run back through 1 and 2 again to get refamiliarized with the world and the characters and stuff. I don't know if this ties in any significant way, but it might. How do those people explain time zones and day and night cycles? Vizard, that's the perfect question for these people, but I don't know. Because so the Earth is flat, right? This is the Earth. It's flat, right? This is the ET cartridge, the best video game of all time, by the way. Atari 2600. All right, so the Earth is flat, and so what? Does the sun pass over it, creating time zones? And then what? Does it decide? Oh, let me go back around. Because if it's flat, it's super big. If it's hitting the Earth, it's going to be hitting a flat Earth, so all at one time. So if it was folded, that's why you get time zones, because it's curved. So this area is getting more sun. If the sun's over here, like my light source here, is getting more sun than over here, because it's kind of cut off, because it's behind the horizons, behind the curve. It's stupid. That's all I can say. I don't know. What is the point of believing that stuff? It's insane. Tabletop says Suda was hella trolling. Yeah, that was one of the most epic trolls. I'm going to do a video just about that, too. I got a lot of videos to do now. But yeah, that was one of the most epic trolls that I think I've ever seen in gaming. It was so funny. It was infuriating, but yet funny. Super funny at the same time. It was perfect. Yeah, perfect. I pre-ordered Deadly Premonition 2 on Switch, says Tyler. I didn't pre-order it, but I'm getting it. I've been wanting to do a live stream of one. I got to do it. At least one live stream so people can see what it looks like if you're on the fence or if you don't know what that game is like. I think it's hilarious. Mackenzie Peters, what's up? How you doing? My old boss was a flat earther. How are people allowed to be in positions of authority as flat earthers? That's insane to me. Insane. They have some weird way to explain it, says Tylord. It's definitely weird, whatever that way is. Antonio, 2020 must be the weirdest year I've ever experienced. I'm so glad I have a great library of games to get through this quarantine. Same here, my man. Same here. If it wasn't for video games, boy, I don't know how everybody else is coping. If you're not a gamer right now, I don't know how you're coping. Because gaming is definitely a really good outlet for my anxiety and what's going on in the world. So, what's going on in the world today? You know, the trying times that we're living today. I live in Washington State. Oh, Washington State, big up. If you hike Mount Rainier, you can see the curvature. Yeah, yeah, that's right. I've been close to Washington State. I've been Humboldt area in California. I don't know if you know where that is, but I was able to see these giant trees, the redwoods from Northern California, which is dope because I'm a Star Wars fan, and seeing those trees, seeing that redwood forest in Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi was amazing, and be able to actually go out and see those trees was amazing. So I wasn't in your area, but I was close. That was mid 2000s, 2005 or so, 2006. Because I have people. Zeno, I'm missing something here. All right, Mackenzie says I'm good. Just got home from work. Been debating playing Castlevania Bloodlines or Super Castlevania 4. Good picks, both of them. Zeno, Tylord Stevenson. The sun is obviously a rotating yellow piece of paper, bro. It spins around a different speed and thus different time zones. Nice one. Yeah, people will say the craziest stuff to justify whatever theories or whatever they have. It's insane. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have, guys. Thank you all for joining me. I was a little worried that I wouldn't get my regular viewership here, but everyone showed up. I think if I'm wrong, let me know, Alex, if you are new, or at least new to chatting, because I don't remember seeing you before. Could be wrong, but welcome if you're new. If you're not, welcome. If you're not new, welcome. If you're not welcome, that doesn't sound right. But yeah. Thanks everybody. If you got nothing to say, Tyler says I've been to the giant sequoias. Yeah, sorry Mackenzie, this is the end. I actually came on way later than I was expecting to. It sucks because if I get on later, everybody's like, oh, I couldn't watch it because it was too late. And if I get on earlier than I would like, or than I usually do, and people will say, oh, it was too early for me, or way too early, or too late. Time zones, Time zones ruin everything. But we have to have them because we don't live on a flat earth. So, what do they think? Do they watch? I wonder. There's a movie called Dark. Oh my God, what is it? Oh my gosh. Not Dark Crystal. Why is that in my head? Came out in 99. Dark. Alex Proyas. Come on, guys, help me in the chat. It was made in 99. Came out in 99. They used a lot of the stuff from The Matrix, or The Matrix used a lot of its sets. It was called Dark. It's a sci-fi film noir starring Rufus Sewell Why do I go with these lights on here? Oh man, it's gonna drive me crazy. But anyway, Dark City. Thank you, Morpheus. My God, so easy. Dark City. So did they watch Dark City and say, yeah, that's how it is? Oh man, I spoiled it, didn't I? I didn't mean to spoil it. I really didn't. But it's a 21-year-old movie, so sorry. But it's still a fantastic watch. You should watch it anyway. But do they watch that and be like, yep, that's exactly how the Earth is? No. I hope not. Oh, goodness. Flat Earthers watch the Monty Python movie, Meaning of Life, where the buildings fall off the... Yes, Mackenzie, yes. It's silly. Yeah, Dark City is one of my favorite movies of all time. Back when Alex Proyas was a really good director. My favorite movie of all time is an Alex Proyas movie, and that is... Can anybody guess? I've said it before. Anybody guess what my favorite movie is? Alex Proyas made movie? I'll give you a minute or two. The Sioux Reservation has no time zone. Let's see. Anybody got a guess for my favorite movie of all time? Directed by Alex Proyas. I mean, that's pretty easy if we're on the internet here. Imagine a flat earther made Super Mario Galaxy. Oh my gosh. Good one there, Antonio. When will you be free to play some Call of Duty Ghosts online while chatting via voice chat on Discords? Probably Tuesday. I was thinking tomorrow, but I don't think I'll have time tomorrow. But Tuesday I should be free. iRobot, wrong. Zeno, wrong. Go back. I like iRobot. It was a fun movie. Good action movie. It wasn't really iRobot if you read the story. Still live, T, says Sardonic. Yes, I'm still live. Alex Proyas doesn't have a lot of movies. I believe this was his first, if I'm not mistaken. Gone with the Wind is Ree's favorite movie. Who is Ree's? Oh, T. Look, yes, Stitch. Thank you. The Crow. The Crow is my favorite movie of all time because it combines everything basically everything I love, almost everything I love, and it doesn't have any science fiction. That's the one thing it doesn't have. But it combines like goth. It combines. That soundtrack was freaking amazing. But it has action. It had my favorite up and coming action star in Brandon Lee, who tragically passed away in the movie. It has the best screenplay, the perfect screenplay, and this is from a screenplay, screenwriting class perspective, not just not that it's just perfect, but I mean it's on point timing wise. It's perfectly made and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you got to see The Crow. I don't know. I mean, maybe it won't hold up as well today. Yeah, Brandon Lee passed away. Like I said, he was like my favorite, up and coming action star. Obviously, he's the son of Bruce Lee, and he also died tragically. So there was the mystery around that. iRobot was based off Omega Man. Was it? I think you're thinking about I Am Legend. iRobot. There was elements of iRobot in the movie iRobot, but it was more of a kind of thinking science fiction movie than it was an action one. So they just turned the premise, the world, basically, to some degree. I think iRobot was written by Isaac Asimov, if I'm not mistaken, which is one of my favorite sci-fi writers ever. And I think it was just a short story. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you're thinking of I Am Legend. um, tabletop, and Omega Man was actually, I believe Omega Man was a remake. Omega Man was actually the first remake. I Am Legend is the second one. There was a movie before that. I forget what it's called. That's the first film I Am Legend story. That's based off of the book. So, get to Alex to make the Crowbot. Oh, get Alex to make the Crowbot, and then you would have everything you need. Totally, Zeno. Totally, you got it. You got me. It can be a strange sequel to The Crow and iRobot at the same time. That would be the perfect film for me. You got it. But yeah, The Crow, has really cool action, gothic kind of setting, great soundtrack, perfectly paced, perfect revenge. It's a revenge movie. I love revenge movies when they're well done, and it just has everything. And it's the movie, if you've seen my film and stuff, that I'm always trying to create in some way. My first feature length that I shot was a gothic vampire movie, and The Crow was totally an influence on that. So it's too bad that the Crow sequel, City of Angels, was pretty bad. Yeah, it was terrible, Mackenzie, terrible. And made a horrible game. Oh, the game! Did I tell you about my story about the game? Hopefully we can stay on. Don't shut off, computer. That's the first game, probably the only game that I bought and took back within hours, maybe an hour, 2 hours of buying it, because it was so terrible. It was worse than the movie. The game was. It was so bad. Last Man on Earth. Thank you, Ty Lord. Last Man on Earth, and then Omega Man, and then I Am Legend, based on the book Last Man on Earth. But yeah, like, that game was so bad. I got it for Sega Saturn. I think it's on PlayStation 1 as well. It is god awful. City of Angels, terrible. The Crow City of Angels is a terrible movie and a terrible game. But it is what it is. And they keep talking about remaking. You can't remake Brandon Lee. You can't remake. He was so that guy. He was so much the character that you just can't. You can't remake the era. That movie was created for a specific era. You can't remake the era and the people what people want at the time. It was perfect for its time when it came out. Then you had the tragedy that boosted it up and gave it more mystique. And then you had, the soundtrack, which was a big part of that movie. It's just a great movie. And they don't do miniatures anymore. That's why I was so happy to see, what's the movie, or the show, the Dark Crystal show on I'm going to rewatch that. The Dark Crystal on Netflix. Great show. Love it to death. They used miniatures again. They still incorporated CGI, but they used miniatures and they used puppets. And I was like, thank you. I love miniatures. I love seeing that stuff on film. It just looks really cool to me still. I hate the over CG-ification of everything. I get why they do it. But is it cheaper? Especially if you're building it, like if you look at like Batman 89 and Batman Returns, and you can see the miniature work. Some of those shots don't work and they don't hold up. But if a miniature is done really well, it looks really cool. And I think it's cheaper. Isn't it cheaper than doing CGI? The Dark Crystal was amazing, San Antonio. Yes, love the movie, love the Netflix show. Amazing. And if you haven't watched that documentary about the making, mwah! Like, I'm into that stuff. Like, I'm a nerd for that stuff. I don't buy a movie or a DVD or anything that doesn't have DVD extras, doesn't have behind the scenes and doesn't have, behind the scenes documentaries, all that kind of stuff. I love that stuff. I live for that. I don't buy straight movie DVDs or Blu-rays or anything like that because I love behind the scenes. I love director commentaries. I love them. I'm such a nerd for that. And anything behind the scenes. That's why I love the Mandalorian stuff, behind the scenes stuff on. Actually, I need to go catch up on that for this past week. I love that stuff. Labyrinth with David Bowie. I like Legend, not as much as the other ones, but Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, man, those 80s kids movies, you can't get better than that. That's why I'm doing my movie channel. So you guys that are really hyped that hear me talk about this stuff, make sure you subscribe to Mizzah Tee ATM. I'll let you know in the future when I'm ready. I got my first video to put up for it. But this, because I want to talk about my movie side, you know? You guys don't really get to hear that here. And I don't want to mix up the audiences and have that stuff together too much. So, do you speak Dutch? Oh, he's asking Ty Lord. Wasn't City of Angels the TV show? No. It was The Crow. What was it called? But it wasn't City of Angels. But that was Mark Dacascos. Table. Who's asking that? Stitched. No, that wasn't Stitched. Who asked that? Tabletop. Yeah, Tabletop. No, that was did it have a subtitle? It was The Crow, but that was based on the first Crow movie. The character and all that was based on. Oh my God, what was his name? Eric Draven. Actually, Eric had no last name from the comic. He was given Draven in the movie, and he was given him being a musician. That wasn't in the comic either. They added that for the movie. I think your movie channel will do really well. I hope so. But thanks for that, Zeno. Never-ending story. Talk about bad sequels. Never-ending Story had 2 sequels. One of them had Jack Black in it, a very young Jack Black. Terrible. The only one that counts is the first one. Yeah, man, Never-ending Story is great. My kids love it. I've indoctrinated my kids with that. They love Never-ending Story, the movie as well. So, oh my gosh, it's 1 a.m. All right, so yeah, it's called Mizzah Tee ATM. Oh, I just got a notification on my Apple phone, my Apple Watch, I should say, Apple phone. I'll let you know, Antonio. I'll let everybody know. Basically, I'll tell you right now, though. Basically, Puppet T will be running that channel, so you'll see that caricature mostly, and then I'll do voiceover work, you know, in my regular voice. I think I'm going to play up a different little voice, but a nerdier voice, but so that, you know, so it'll be Puppet T cutting in, saying little things here and there, and then my commentary will be in my voice and whatnot. So should be fun if it works out the way I'm expecting it. So it won't just be movies either. It'll be TV as well. So I'll be reviewing TV shows and stuff like that as well. So hopefully it does well. But yeah, that's it. I'm getting out of here. Appreciate all of you fine folks, gentlemen and lady. I think I have one lady. So I would like to diversify my audience. See, there's nothing wrong with diversity. But yeah, thank everybody for joining. Hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to do this yesterday, but again, stuff push things out of the way. Like, it would be great if this movie channel comes up and it does really well, and I can just do this stuff full time. I would love to do that. I'll keep my game channels mostly the same, but I'll make I also have another Nintendo channel that specifically Nintendo that I'm working on, called Nintendium. You know what Nintendium is. And that'll be more like news related stuff and just more kind of documentary related stuff. And this will just be my personal gamer channel where I talk about like everything. So we'll see how that works. But thank everybody for joining. Antonio, Stitched, Tabletop, Jonathan, Zeno. Hope I don't miss anybody. I said Antonio already. Mackenzie, Alex. Well, Sardonic. Sorry if some of you guys came in late and missed it, but go back and watch it. Go. If you're cleaning the house or you're doing something, just have a listen. And hopefully that be good. Tylord, Master Yoshi, Morpheus, Visored, Grunt. I think that's everybody. Jarion. Yusuf. Lil Cray. You guys were in and out of here. Cornelius. Bronze 1. And I think that's it. EJ Johnson and King Boom. Thank you. Oh, and Different Shade of Purple. Thank you all for joining. Appreciate it. And see you fools next time. And peace out.